What if I told you the serpent in Genesis wasn't actually a serpent? It looks like everything we thought we knew about the story of Adam and Eve might need a serious reevaluation. The serpent of Genesis was not actually a serpent. Hebrew text reveals it. We all know the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. It's one of the most well-known tales in the Bible, explaining how sin and death entered the world. At the heart of it is the serpent, the creature that tempts Eve to eat the forbidden fruit, leading to humanity's fall. We've always been told that the serpent is a literal snake, a deceiver. But what if we've misunderstood this figure all along? When we look closely at the original Hebrew text of Genesis, things get interesting. The word used for serpent in Genesis 3:1 is nahash. Most translations say it means snake, but Hebrew is a rich and layered language. So what if nahash doesn't just mean snake? What if it represents something far more significant than a reptile crawling through Eden? Let's dive into this idea. In ancient cultures, serpents were often seen as symbols of wisdom, power, and even immortality, not just deceit. For example, the Mesopotamian god Nanazu, linked to the underworld, was depicted as a serpent. And in Egyptian mythology, the cobra represented the goddess Wadjet, who symbolized protection and royalty. Could the nahash of Genesis also be a figure of divine wisdom? If we see the serpent as more than a deceiver, a new possibility arises. Maybe when the nahash tempts Eve, it isn't just tricking her. It might be offering her access to divine knowledge, wisdom, and enlightenment. Could the nahash be a symbol of something more profound? But that's just the beginning. There's much more to explore about this creature's true nature and what it means for the story of Adam and Eve. What do these hidden layers of meaning reveal about the choices they made in Eden? One compelling interpretation is that the nahash could be a divine or semi-divine being, possibly even a fallen angel. In fact, many scholars have argued that the nahash represents a kind of divine rebel, similar to the figure of Prometheus in Greek mythology. Prometheus defied the gods by stealing fire and giving it to humanity, an act that granted humans wisdom and progress, but also came with severe consequences. In a similar way, the nahash in Genesis could be seen as a figure that challenges divine authority. Instead of simply tricking Eve, this being may be offering her and Adam the opportunity to gain divine knowledge, to break free from their innocent but limited state, and to take a step toward self-awareness and autonomy. This interpretation casts the serpent in a more complex light. Rather than being a mere trickster, the nahash could be a figure with a dual role, both tempter and enlightener. The serpent's offer to Eve, "You will not surely die, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil," is not just a lie, but a promise of enlightenment. In this way, the nahash is offering humanity the choice to pursue wisdom, to seek knowledge beyond the boundaries set by God. If you're enjoying this exploration of biblical mysteries, don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Such an interpretation aligns with other mythological narratives. In many traditions, figures who rebel against divine authority bring knowledge to humanity, often face severe consequences, but are not necessarily evil. In fact, they are sometimes seen as necessary agents of human progress. This perspective complicates the Genesis narrative and raises important theological questions. Was the serpent merely evil, or was it part of a larger divine plan? Was the temptation of Eve a necessary step in the development of humanity? These are questions worth considering as we re-examine this ancient text. Another interpretation to consider is the nahash as a symbol of chaos. In many ancient cultures, serpents were not only associated with wisdom, but also with disorder and disruption. The nahash in Genesis could represent the forces that challenge divine order and test human obedience. In the peaceful, harmonious setting of the Garden of Eden, everything was in its proper place. Adam and Eve lived in innocence, free from sin or disorder. But when the serpent appeared, it disrupted this harmony, leading them to question God's command and ultimately introducing chaos into their lives. This theme of chaos versus order is common in many ancient mythologies. For instance, in Babylonian mythology, the chaos monster Tiamat is depicted as a serpent or dragon, representing the primordial forces of disorder that the god Marduk must overcome to create the world. Similarly, in Norse mythology, the Midgard serpent Jormungandr is a massive sea serpent that threatens the world's balance. In this light, the nahash in Genesis can be seen as an agent of chaos, testing the boundaries of human obedience and divine authority. Adam and Eve's decision to eat the forbidden fruit disrupts the order of the garden and leads to their expulsion into a world of toil, pain, and death. This interpretation highlights a larger cosmic conflict, one that extends beyond the Garden of Eden and speaks to the ongoing struggle between stability and disorder, between divine order and human free will. Yet another layer of interpretation is the idea that the serpent is not a literal being at all, but a metaphor for human curiosity and the innate desire to seek knowledge. In this view, the nahash represents the internal conflict within each of us, the temptation to go beyond the boundaries set by authority, even when we know there are risks involved. Eve's decision to eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge can be seen not just as an act of disobedience, but as a profound moment of choice. Faced with the possibility of gaining wisdom, she and Adam choose to pursue knowledge, even though it means leaving behind the innocence they once had. By understanding the serpent in Genesis as a metaphor for human curiosity, we can view the story of Adam and Eve as more than just a cautionary tale. It becomes a reflection of the human experience, the struggle between obedience and the pursuit of wisdom, between staying within the safety of the known and stepping into the unknown to seek understanding. This interpretation challenges us to think about the role of curiosity in our own lives. Is the pursuit of knowledge inherently dangerous? Or is it a necessary part of human growth and development? And, just as importantly, what are the consequences of seeking wisdom at all costs? When we consider these various interpretations of the nahash as a divine rebel, as a symbol of chaos, or as a metaphor for human curiosity, the Genesis story takes on a whole new depth of meaning. The traditional view of the serpent as purely evil seems overly simplistic in light of these possibilities. Instead of seeing the serpent as merely a deceiver, we can understand it as a catalyst for humanity's growth and development. Adam and Eve's decision to eat the forbidden fruit may not have been simply an act of disobedience. It may have been a necessary step in their evolution toward self-awareness and free will. The story of Adam and Eve, then, is not just about humanity's fall from grace. It's a story about the pursuit of knowledge, the challenges that come with stepping into the unknown, and the consequences of making choices that forever change the course of history. Whether we view the serpent as a divine figure, a symbol of chaos, or a metaphor for human curiosity, one thing is clear: the nahash is far more than a simple snake. This reinterpretation of the serpent encourages us to approach the Bible with fresh eyes, to dig deeper into the original texts, and to explore the rich layers of meaning that may be hidden beneath the surface. It challenges us to ask difficult questions about the nature of temptation, the pursuit of wisdom, and the role of divine beings in human affairs. If you like this video, click on the next one, where we'll continue to uncover hidden insights from ancient texts.